Hello to Fortopia, it has been a while. I've been a little busy, but we're back in the new year with a 24 Kevin tradition, looking to the future as we make our predictions for Nintendo for 2020. What could the Kings of Left Field have in store? Who the heck knows? But I'm your host, 24 Kevin, here for 24 Kevintendo, and these are my predictions for the upcoming year. So last year, my predictions video was more of a discussion, so I felt reviewing the ideas would be a little difficult. But for clarity's sake, I only got a little less than 65% of the predictions I put out right, and some of them you may see repeated in this video. But we'll talk about that shortly. Instead, let's start by talking about Nintendo's biggest franchise, Mario. Now naturally, I don't think Mario Maker 2 has had as big as an impact as Nintendo would have liked. So one of the best ways to rectify this would be by implementing some new DLC. One of the best things they could do is add in a new style, which has been speculated on since launch. Honestly, the new style I've always speculated on them adding has always been a style based on Super Mario Odyssey. Imagine being able to capture Goombas and Koopas in 2D and use their powers in order to traverse the levels. It would be absolutely incredible and would be an awesome replacement for some of those mystery mushrooms that went missing in this game mysteriously. Another thing that I'd like to mention is I definitely think there's going to be more Master Sword-esque upgrades coming in the near future. If I had to guess, I would guess we'd get Donkey Kong's tie, Samus's blaster, and some sort of Kirby costume that allows you to become Kirby, maybe a Star Rod, that allows you to inhale some of the Goombas and become them and use their power-ups, somehow becoming Goomba Kirby, which would be pretty awesome if you ask me. And I think it would be a pretty awesome addition to the game overall. Again, these are kind of just pipe dreams and things that I hope come in the future, as it's essentially getting a maker for all the games I mentioned, and if it goes well, they could even add in more third-party characters like Mega Man and Simon Belmont. I'm not saying those last two will happen, but it's definitely a pipe dream. As for what other games we could see from Mario, because let's face it, he usually appears in more than one a year, I think a Mario Sports title is due for release. The last Mario Sports title was Mario Tennis Aces, and that was released almost 2 years ago. And although it had a rocky start, it managed to already sell over 2.6 million copies. Nintendo could easily release a new Strikers or Golf title that would probably get a great reception and sell like hotcakes. The other title I could see releasing is a sequel to Super Mario Party. The first one didn't have the best reception, and although everyone expected DLC, we didn't seem to get it. I'm holding on hope that Nintendo had so much content planned for DLC that they just decided to release an all-out sequel instead, probably to make more money, and I can hold on hope for this because the first one was fun in its own right for a little while, but the lack of content in the game really held it down. So if they released a sequel, I just hope they release it with a lot more modes, boards, the works. Basically, I just want more Mario Party. I love that franchise. Now there's two other really anticipated games that we were waiting to hear from this year, and that's Breath of the Wild 2 and Metroid Prime 4. Now while I don't think we're going to see Metroid Prime 4 because they really still are in the early stages of development there, I do believe that we could see Breath of the Wild released this year. The reason I think we'll see the Breath of the Wild sequel this year is because we really haven't heard of Nintendo's big game coming this year. The only other game I could see it being is Super Mario Odyssey 2, which unfortunately I don't think it's quite time to release yet, so I could really see them releasing Breath of the Wild 2, especially after already showing it off. It could be their big E3 game where they show off the new modes, new dungeons, new layouts, new characters, the whole works. If it was anything like the deep dive they did when Breath of the Wild was the focus at E3 a couple years ago, this could be something special once again, and would fill out Nintendo's 2020 quite nicely. Now, as I mentioned, we don't really know a lot of games that are going to be released in 2020. We have Animal Crossing, No More Heroes, but there's few and far between titles after that. Some games I think we will get announced is Bayonetta 3, and a few more Wii U titles. If I had to guess which ones, yes, sorry to go back to the Mario well, but Super Mario 3D World is kind of a no-brainer with the style being included in Super Mario Maker 2. This would give the people who had the first chance to enjoy Super Mario 3D World in Super Mario Maker 2 a chance to enjoy the masterpiece that was this platformer. Hell, it was probably one of my favorite games on the Wii U. I really enjoyed it. You could add in new modes that made use of the Koopa Cruiser, And you could even port in Super Mario 3D Land if you wanted to create a Super Deluxe Edition to really give the Switch version that extra pizzazz and give it that true deluxe version feel. The final game I say that we think we're due is going to be Star Fox from Wii U being ported over. Star Fox Zero and Star Fox Guard coming in a combo pack would be a welcome addition. I had a huge amount of fun with Star Fox Guard, and I would enjoy it if they added more levels into that, new turrets, the works. But they really need to work on the controls of Star Fox Zero. They could keep the gyro controls while keeping it in your hand, using the Joy-Cons and using the gyro sensors in there, but I think a reworked Pro Controller method would be a very welcome addition and something that Star Fox fans have been begging for since the original was released. Now, another of Nintendo's franchises that has been suspiciously quiet has been the Donkey Kong series. Ever since Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze was released in 2014, the only news we've had of him is the port to the Nintendo Switch 2 years ago. I really think that they've been working on something special for Donkey Kong, and a new Donkey Kong Country game should be coming to the Nintendo Switch. I mean, it'd be perfect with the two Joy-Cons. It was already shown how great it was in the original Tropical Freeze on the Switch, so doing a sequel with even more characters, and Lord knows, it better include a funky mode, would be absolutely incredible. The platforming was top-notch, the levels were difficult, and it was arguably one of the best platformers this console has to offer. And I know everyone knows I've been talking about it for years, so Lord knows 2020 is gonna be the year of Pikmin. Okay, I know I say this every year, but hear me out here. Multiplayer Pikmin. I shouldn't have to say anything else. Give each player a Joy-Con and make it a joint co-op experience where both of them have to work together in order to solve levels, similar to Overcooked 2. You could even make it similar to Pikmin 3 in a single-player campaign mode, where you could switch back and forth between characters using the L and R buttons, but I'll leave that for the developers to figure out. Again, I do think we are going to see Pikmin 3 at least re-released on the Switch, and if I had to make a guess, they would include Hey Pikmin in that as well. Hey, it would be a nice addition, and you could add a couple extra levels in Pikmin 3 as well as those bonus DLC levels for free. They were a heck of a lot of fun, but I really think if you really want to give players a deluxe edition value, you would port over Hey Pikmin as well. You might have to do some controller modifications and make it so that the Joy-Con could use the pointer instead of the touchscreen, but it could still be a really solid game to port. Finally, my biggest prediction for Nintendo first-party games is going to be that we are not going to get a new Pokemon game this year. I know, hear me out, I mean a Pokemon mainline game. I know we got Pokemon Mystery Dungeon coming out, but I think there could be some really special games in the works for next year. However, I do think the Pokemon Company has one more game in the works in a spin-off title coming at the end of the year, and if I had to guess, I would say it was going to be Pokmon Tournament 2. Bringing in a new roster, new characters, new customizable options, new helpers, could really help revitalize this game in the competitive fighting scene and give a renewed interest in the Pokmon Tournament franchise. The last game was a little bit bare bones, so if you were to include a roster of say 40 fighters and reveal them one at a time similar to what they do with Smash Bros, you could have another Smash hit on your hand. Pun not intended. Now, we had some really interesting leaks from third-party developers recently. This included Red Dead Redemption 2 and the Bioshock Collection all coming to the Nintendo Switch. Now, Bioshock would be a huge get on the Nintendo Switch, as we haven't had that franchise ever on a Nintendo console. What's even better is that they could even add even extra DLC content that was included in all the other games for free in this deluxe edition. I know that some of these copies go for like $20 in thrift stores or even online on sales at some point, so I would hope Ubisoft would at least price this reasonably so that I can finally play through the dang series. One final thing I'd love to touch on though, is that I truly believe there is a Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle sequel coming out. After the success of the last game and the huge critical and commercial success it had, I believe that they wanted to get Ubisoft working on a sequel as soon as possible. And I, for one, am absolutely ecstatic about it. It's probably my favorite game on the Nintendo Switch. I'm hard-pressed to find a game that I truly enjoyed more. Sure, Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey is great, but this one had me grinning ear from start to finish. The comedy, the battle, everything was just so perfect, it would be a shame if Ubisoft threw this franchise at the wayside and didn't do a sequel. Then it would go the way of Super Mario Legend of the Seven Stars, remembered as one of the best Mario RPGs of all time to never get a sequel. One thing that I'm not going to talk a lot about is Animal Crossing. We know it's coming in March, and we know that we don't know a lot of information already, but one thing I can tell you is I think there's going to be a seasonal expansion pass for Animal Crossing. Hey, it's a way for them to make extra money off one of their most profitable franchises, and without going into microtransactions, this is the best possible opportunity, releasing new furniture, new clothing, new emotions, new customizable options, maybe even new areas you can go exploring in the game, new game modes similar to Desert Island Adventure. The possibilities really are limitless, but Nintendo would kind of be foolish not to capitalize on the digital seasons passes available that have been selling so well on their console as is. Then again, if they keep churning out quality content like they have with DLC in the past, I will happily keep buying it. Now the last Nintendo franchise I'd like to talk about is Splatoon. The original Splatoon was released in 2015, with Splatoon 2 being released in 2017. That's only a 2-year gap between releases. Add in a couple of the recent teases on Twitter, and I think it pretty plainly spells out that we're gonna get a sequel to Splatoon, Splatoon 3. I love the series personally, and although some of the multiplayer aspects could be improved upon, let us pick which mode we want to play Nintendo, I really love the franchise and the single-player campaign mode. Although it's kinda short sometimes, the Octo expansion proved exactly how great the franchise's single-player can be, with a little bit of time and effort, and that extra little bit of challenge added in. And honestly, if this prediction comes to pass, this could be Nintendo's big holiday seller of 2020. Now you can't talk about a Nintendo predictions video in the upcoming year without talking about Microsoft and Nintendo's relationship. It has been absolutely off the charts these past couple years, and the people who have benefited most are gamers. Honestly, I could see Microsoft putting some really stellar titles on the Nintendo Switch, but I'm only going to name 2 things for now. One of them is going to be Rare Replay, especially after the release of Banjo-Kazooie in Smash Bros. Hype to play the Baron Bird's best is boiling over! Then again, I could see Nintendo easily not wanting to do this if they're bringing Nintendo 64 games to the Nintendo Switch, but this would be a solid precursor to the Switch Online adding Nintendo 64 games, and would get people even more excited to replay those games once again with their friends. The final game is a doozy, and I can't pin down which one it's gonna be, but if I had to guess, I would have to make a prediction that a Halo game would make an appearance on the Nintendo Switch this year. With all the buddy-buddiness that's going on between Microsoft and Nintendo, it would come as no surprise if they put one of their biggest franchises on the Switch and had it sell over 5 million units easily. It would be an easy seller. I mean, Halo on the go. Imagine how many people would have killed for this in the 2000s. Instead of lugging around their consoles or going for LAN parties, they could have just carried it along the Switch. This would be a great way to reintroduce these nostalgic feelings to older fans, while introducing this franchise to newer fans who aren't familiar with it, possibly convincing them to buy an Xbox in order to continue playing these series. Again, if they release the whole collection on here, it might be a little less inclined to buy an Xbox unless they want to play the newest Halo, which is going to come on the new Xbox, so this, again, would be a really good marketing ploy, and probably a win-win for both Microsoft and Nintendo. Now the final thing we're going to talk about today is the one thing that everyone loves to speculate on more than any other game apparently. It's Super Smash Bros. Who's that final Fighter Pass character gonna be has been all the rage in the internet over the last week, and I have a hunch that I have no idea who it's gonna be. But, if I had to make a prediction, one prediction, it would be Geno. Yes, I know it's not a very exciting prediction, it's been someone I've wanted for a very long time, but honestly, after he gave me Banjo-Kazooie, Sakurai can do whatever the heck he wants with the series. I don't even care anymore. However, we do know that there's going to be another Fighter Pass. We don't know how many fighters, but if I had to guess, I would assume it would be another 5. And who would those characters be? Well, if I had to hope, if they put my boy Geno in there, I'd have to hope it would be Mallow. It would be so good. That guy doesn't get enough love for the Super Mario Legend of the Seven Stars franchise, but he's so cool. And he's got those extending arms that you could use different moves with. It would be so much fun. But in all seriousness, we still have 4 other people to fill out here. And if I were to guess, I would assume that we would get a character from Fire Emblem Three Houses. And the character I would like to nominate is Edelgard. Hey, we don't have any axe users, and she has such a compelling story in the game that this would be absolutely incredible to play as her in Smash Bros. Can you imagine what her final Smash would be? Oh, I could just imagine her becoming the thing she becomes in the game. If you go on a certain route, I don't want to do any spoilers in case you haven't done that route yet, but it's pretty dang cool and would make for an awesome final Smash. I also think there'll be another Microsoft character included, and if I had to make a guess, it would have to be Master Chief, especially if we're going to get some Halo on the Switch console. Is it likely? Nope, but it's still something I would like to see. Another character that I would like to see included is someone who actually has a lot of history, even though I haven't been a huge fan of his series. It would be Ryu Hayabusa. I really wanted to include one really retro character on here, and I really think he would be a really solid addition to the roster. I mean, the guy's been on Nintendo consoles longer than I've been alive, so I think it's only fair that he gets his due in Smash Bros as well. Now, the final character I think would be added in through the Fighter's Pass, and sorry to all you fans out there who want a specific character, and sorry if I didn't mention it here, I think that we would get Rayman. Look, Rayman's always been a hugely requested character, and I love the guy. Plus, Nintendo and Ubisoft seemingly have a great relationship recently, and if the Bioshock rumors are true, then Rayman and Smash could be beneficial to both parties once again. Again, I'm kind of looking at this as what's beneficial to everyone, as well as Nintendo, as well as characters I'd like to see doing these predictions. But hey, Rayman was honestly one of my people that I've always wanted in the game, after Banjo and Geno, of course. So honestly, the fact that we got one of those three is fantastic to me, and anything on top of that is just gravy. Now, one thing I will say about these Smash Fighter predictions is that I don't think that's all the fighters we're gonna get. Now, call me greedy, but I think between the release of the Fighter Pass 1 and Fighter Pass 2, they're going to offer you a bonus if you get both of those. And I think they're going to offer you a couple Echo characters. Now, I don't know who those Echo characters are going to be, but I think they could add in some solid additions to some people already there. Like Shadow to Sonic, you could do one for Dixie Kong with Diddy. The possibilities are pretty limitless, but I could see them giving us at least 3 Echo fighters. In addition, I think Sakurai is gonna pull a super sneaky move and give us 1 extra fighter similar to what they did in the original Battle Pass. And if I had to make a guess who that one character would be, it would have to be Waluigi. Now I know, he's an assist trophy, but honestly, after the people went crazy finding out that he wasn't a fighter, and Sakurai having the opportunity to add in a bunch of new characters, this would be an amazing roster choice to appease the fan base and truly give us something special to end this series on, making it the truly ultimate version of Smash. But that's all the time we got for this episode, guys. Those are all my predictions for 2020. Let me know what you guys think is gonna happen. Do you think these predictions are viable, not viable? Leave a comment down below and let me know what you think is gonna come true. And let me know what your predictions are. Again, sorry I haven't been on in a while. Work's been keeping me busy, but now I've got a little bit of extra time. Hopefully I'll be able to get out more videos over the next couple weeks. But for everyone here at 24 Kevin Tendo, I'm your host, 24 Kevin. See you guys next time. Hope you had a great day. Bye!